Welcome back. Well, Snap stole the show on Wall Street last week with its public debut, the IPO. Several oil and gas companies, however, are getting ready for their big day. There are more than 20 oil and gas IPOs on tap just in the next few weeks, according to Simmons & Company research. The activity coming as oil prices fall over concerns of lower growth targets in China and uncertainty over Russia's compliance with the global deal to cut oil output. Joining us right now from the CME is Price Futures Group analyst, Fox News contributor Flynn. Phil, good to see you.
Good morning.
What's going on in the oil market? What are you watching in terms of driving this market here?
Well, there's no doubt that all those IPOs, Maria, say that the market expects that we're going to see another big boom in the energy industry. That's after an extended period of buzz. But I think in the short term, there's a lot of conflicting things going on in this market right now. If you look at, of course, the concerns overnight by the OPEC oil minister, when he was asked directly if OPEC plans to extend production cuts, he said it's too early. We're not ready to do that. And there is some concern about these continuing increases in U.S. oil rigs week after week after week. There is some concern that that's going to break the record compliance that we've seen by the OPEC cartel and put some pressure on them. But from a more positive side, if you look at what's happening in the U.S. stock market, that really bodes well for U.S. energy demand. And look at how the world has changed in the U.S. energy market in just the last few years. The U.S. is now exporting more oil than they ever had before. They're also exporting more gasoline and diesel fuel. So think of the U.S. Oil supply in a totally different way. It's not a domestic market anymore. It's an international market, and we're going to be more and more seeing that over the next few months. We're going to see exports rise. We're going to see production rise as well.
Hey, Phil, it's Dagan McDowell. Good to see you this morning.
Hey,
the Trump administration's EPA is getting ready to reverse the car emissions targets that were put in place by the Obama administration, that 54.5 miles per gallon target by 2025. What's that going to do to demand for gasoline potentially?
Well, it's going to actually raise it potentially because there may be less ethanol in gasoline. One of the ways that they've reached these targets is using some of these alternative fuels. And the ramifications on that can actually be seen, you know, not only in the gasoline market where you will see more demand if levels are lower, but also across the agriculture markets, you know, the bean oil, the corn, the things that go into making up ethanol. So it could have far-reaching ramifications across the entire sector.
There haven't been a lot of policy changes that have impacted this industry yet. And we've got the Dakota Access Pipeline. That's expected to bring in more than $100 million in tax revenue to North Dakota. That could start transporting crude oil as soon as this week. Any impact here? Is this on your radar?
I think it's much needed. I think it's going to keep gasoline prices lower, not only here but internationally. And you know, what we've seen right now is the inefficient movement of oil out of the Bakken. A lot of those producers are having a hard time competing with the producers in Texas. But this is going to make them more competitive, and I think it's good for a global market. It's never good when you're producing something and you can't get it to the market. This is a great way to get it to the market in the most environmentally safe way possible.
Yeah, you would think. All right, we'll see how that plays out. Phil, thank you. We'll be watching these markets. Phil Flynn in Chicago.